welcome to our training for today. This is exactly where we stopped the other day. We'll talk about how to make your work transparency. So today we want to talk about color, okay, and gradients. Already we started color, that's how I talk about transparency. So now we're moving straight away to gradient. How do you apply gradients on your work? Of course, we know that most times gradient has a problem. For example, if maybe your browser refused to accept it, because some browsers doesn't work with it, okay. For that kind of browser, there's always a problem, but I'll show you a way out. Remember when we talk about WebKit, we will talk about modes. So these are the things we're going to use as we move on to gradient. Of course, my laptop won't work with gradient directly, but if I type background now and type gradient color and give me gradient color, it will now apply. So for it to apply on my own, I have to use WebKit. Okay, yours maybe you have to use mouse or something else, but anyhow, if you use any of them, at least one must work on your own. Without much ado, let's go in, let's start work. So let's assume that I want to work with this particular box here. So I want to add the gradient to it. So I'll come over here and write background, just background. Then if it's gradient, you're adding, you're going to specify the kind of gradient that you want to add to it, okay. For example, you have two types of gradient, okay. You have your radial gradient, that is one type of gradient that you can actually apply to this and it's going to work very fine, but we don't want to start with radial gradient, okay. So like I said, we have two types of gradients, linear gradient and radial gradient, okay. So that much, let's start with the linear gradient. So I'll come over here after writing this, or type the linear, but like I told you, it won't work here because my extent doesn't work straight ahead with it like this, okay. Linear gradient. So you open your bracket, you put the color, let's say you want something like blue, okay, want something like blue, then another color, maybe something like yellow, okay, something like yellow. So it will be blue, yellow. Let's go back, I don't know. So another one should be yellow, okay. So Ctrl S for save. Of course, like I told you, it won't show anything, okay, it won't show anything. So for mine to work, I have to use WebKit or mouse. So remember, I put them before before now, okay. So let's go ahead and apply that. So as it didn't work, let's apply what I told you. So I just use WebKit. If you check that and look at the what I'm talking about, we have WebKit gradient, no, WebKit linear gradient, yeah, linear gradient, WebKit linear gradient. So let me give him a kind of red, comma, and then maybe yellow, okay, yellow, okay, comma, yellow, spelling is wrong, yellow. So let's use Ctrl S for save and then check it up. You just have to work, okay. Do you see it, red and yellow? So but I want this to apply on the boss. Let's leave this so you know that. Let's use the boss, okay. Let's use the boss. So just simply copy it, let's cut it out, let's come to this boss level and place it there, okay, and then Ctrl S for save, okay. So do you see it? So you can actually change this color. If you have color, if you know much about color, you can choose any of the stuff you want, you know, any way you want, you know. Ctrl S for save and you keep on changing, okay. You see yellow down, blue top. You can actually also change it by writing to top, say to top, you put your comma and then Ctrl S for save. You see it? So you can also, so you can work around many things right here and everything is going to work fine for you, okay. Oh, I've cancelled something, sorry. So that to top you want to put should be mainly after the bracket, not before the bracket, okay. Mainly after the bracket, right to top. So if you want to go up or maybe to your right, any angle you want it to be, you can actually do it there. Okay, so you can also choose up to 3 color or 4 color at the same time. If WebKit linear gradient doesn't work for you, don't worry, don't panic. There's another one which I want to show you now, which is a mouse. Okay, remember we've discussed all this before now, so you try mouse. Okay, if WebKit didn't work, mouse will work. So let's bring it down and use mouse. So it will be background first, background, then you apply mouse, and you also come down to look for it, mouse gradient. Okay, and let's say you apply the same yellow, red and yellow. Okay, come yellow. So you can use any of them and it's going to work for you. If WebKit didn't work, mouse linear will work. If mouse didn't work, the normal linear will work. So anyone that work for you, just use it and you're going to see result for it. Okay, so the next one we want to talk about is linear, is a radial gradient. Radial help the thing to be red, help it to be circle, okay. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'll come over here, sort of this linear that I use, I want to delete it. I'm trying to finish this class on standard as well. I don't want to start creating another thing, so I'll still use the same WebKit. Let's just start all over. After all, there's no point. Let's start all over. Okay, so WebKit radial gradient. Let me give him something like blue, and maybe brown, maybe blue and brown. Okay, so Ctrl S for save. Let's minimize this or reduce it. You see it, so it turns circle. You see it, you see the blue one is like a circle. Okay, so you can play around this, can add many colors. Apart from this, you can see just add comma and add the next color. Let's say something like green. Okay, something like green, Ctrl S for save. So you see it has changed a little, like kind of purple. So that's why I can keep on adding as many colors as you can. Don't worry, I'm just trying to let you know that these things exist. When we get to time we use them, then we can actually elaborate more on them. So without wasting, let's go to the next one, which has to do with shadow. Okay, and for shadow, you have two types of shadow. You have your boss shadow and your text shadow. Okay, what is the function of shadow? How does shadow help you? Let's go in straight away. So we want to deal with text shadow and boss shadow. We won't waste time here as well. Let's use this for the text shadow and this for the boss shadow. So let's move ahead and start with the text shadow first, which is our H1. So to go it very simple, just write text shadow. Okay, text shadow, look at it here, text shadow. So you can decide to give him, let's say 40 pixels. Okay, and you can just choose any one. Okay, you can choose mini and then add color. Okay, so I'll choose another one, 20 pieces, and then maybe 15 pieces, and then maybe a color of which color we ram here, blue, black will go a long way. So that means we have to change our text. We are not after the text. What we are after is to see what we are doing. Let's give him black. Okay, Ctrl S for save. Okay, so you notice that the shadow is there, but maybe because of the blackness is not that showing well, so we can change the color or change other aspect of it. Okay, let's give me something like red, and then already our color is already red color. Then let's change this to like say 50 pixels. Also, before I change this, let me just change the color first. Let me make the color white. Okay, so I'm able to see what we want to do right now. Let me color white. That's for save. So text shadow has to do with, you have your vertical and horizontal. So let me just use only those two and see if it apply. Let me try 2 pixels for vertical, and maybe horizontal I'll try like maybe 1 pixels. Okay, Ctrl S for save. Of course, it's gonna apply. Then let me also maybe add color to it a little. Maybe like let's add color of blue. Okay, add color of blue. Okay, and see how it goes. Okay, so let's try two pieces, and maybe the other one should be 3 pieces. And Ctrl S for save. Of course, it has applied. You may not see it very well, but let's now, for him to know it is working, let me remove this. Let me make one 0. Remember, I told you it's vertical and horizontal, so let me make this to be 0 pieces. And then maybe make this one, let me just use one crazy thing, you know, so I see that it applied. Let's say 8 pieces. Okay, then Ctrl S for save. If you see it, everything changed. So this is how you can actually apply shadow. You can also design it well, make it, add color to it. Let's say, for instance, let's add a color for let's say blue. Okay, color of just this normal blue. Ctrl S for save. And you see the blue, you see it here at the down part of it, you see it, the whole thing is applying. Okay, this is how you can apply text shadow. You can also add a lot of colors like or numbers, like increase it to just vertical and horizontal. You can see work on add other numbers and you see reflect. Okay, depending on the design that you want. This is just an introduction. When we get to the real one, anything that has to do with shadow, then you can now apply it based on what we are working on. But for you, put hands for many of them, do many things on this text shadow and learn them. So what about boss shadow? The same process. So we just come to our boss and also apply the same boss shadow on them. Okay, and now for you to do that, let's just come over here. Okay, and with that box shadow, just the way you have text shadow, also have box shadow. Okay, and same thing, horizontal and vertical. You can also add color to it. Okay, so let's start with 2 pieces, and another one, let's make it 4 pieces. Okay, and Ctrl S for save. Did you see it? Look at the dark shadow showing there. So let's add a color to it. Since this is red, let me add something like gold. I'm just adding this how you show that it's working. Okay, so later you can work on it, do more exercise on this and capture it. Do you see it? How it applies? Okay, so you can also change it. Let's make one 0 like this. Let's make this one 0 maybe, and leave the other one as 4 or 5 or any number. You see it? Okay, so you can work more on this and know that this is exactly how you can apply text shadow and box shadow. Now next class we want animation. I will do animation very well. I won't rush it like this, so I can actually do animation, and then we move on to JavaScript, where we now settle down and start work. This we are doing now is just like should I say we are just blabbing. Yeah, when we go to JavaScript, that's when we cool down and start what is essentially called programming. See you in that class, and thank you for hanging around with me. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and share, and comment, ask question, or show us a better way to do it if you know the best way to do it. We are all here to learn. Thank you and bye.